People say all the time, black and brown folks, we don't know anything about technology. We don't know anything about AI. We don't know anything about quantum computing. We don't know anything about biotech. We don't know anything about all this stuff. And that's true. That's true. But 99% of white folks don't know it either. So what that means is this is the only experience of equality that you're ever likely to have, because we are all equally ignorant about all this stuff that's coming forward. And you can see already when Alex Rivera grabs this technology and uses it to make a movie trailer, it's a whole different vision. Someone like Raj using his genius not just to back up big companies, but also to save children. It's a whole different possibility. And the main thing we want you to leave here with is maybe somewhat intimidated and feeling like you don't quite know all this stuff, but also to be inspired. And this next panel is gonna give you another dose of inspiration. So on the scary side, a lot of times what people talk about is identity theft and digital twins and doppelgangers and all that sort of stuff. We're gonna talk about that, but we're also gonna talk about how the fact that you could reproduce yourself, you could replicate yourself, opens up a whole different set of possibilities for you to make money, to make a difference, to have a very different life. And we have a panel that is set up to help us get to the bottom of all that. So, let me get my questions. Oh, I was so happy to see Raj. Give Raj another round of applause too, because Raj paid for most of this. Y'all can clap a few more times, because Raj paid for most of this. Raj, are you married? Tiffany Haddish wants to know. I'm going to start with Laurie Segall. By the way, congratulations on everything. Laurie and I were together at CNN when she was a kid reporter with this weird tech beat. And at CNN we usually just cover politics, Washington, D.C., that kind of stuff. So we had this kid reporter who had the tech beat and made friends with all these nobodies like Zuckerberg and got in close and understands the minds of some of these people. Just wrote a brilliant book. What's the book?
Special Characters.
So she wrote a book called Special Characters because she was the CNN person that was on the inside of the last big technological revolution. And so she understood that and then left us, which we're still bitter about, and has gone on to create her own media company called Mostly Human Media. And I just want to give you, first of all, it's just good, and you just got married recently, so just give her a whole big round of applause. I want to start with the negative and then move to the positive. So what keeps you up at night when we think about digital twins, doppelgangers, this whole capacity, and then we'll talk about the upside. But there's some downsides.
No, I'll go pretty dark, but then I'll turn it around.
That's good. Can y'all hear her?
Can you guys hear me?
No.
Can we make, I'll try to shout.
There you go.
No,
Okay.
No, do it again.
Can you guys, I think my mic, oh, kind of working?
Use Will.
Thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, will.i.am.
Yeah, that's better.
I mean, I'll replay that moment in my head for a bit. The thing that keeps me up at night, because I've spent my career asking tech founders like Zuckerberg, like, have you thought about when you become editor-in-chief of the internet? Or just like these questions that they don't have the answers to at the time, and then like years later, we see what happens. Behind the scenes in Silicon Valley, when you talk to folks and some of the biggest folks in AI, I hear like the number one thing people are concerned about, which I think they should be concerned about, so many other things, I can get into them, is this idea of influence. There's this idea that 2024 will be the last human election, and that we'll be persuaded in ways we can't even envision. And
You mean persuaded by like sneaky AI stuff?
yeah, by not understanding what's real and what's not, by entering this post-truth era. And I'll give you an example. Because I'm a masochist, I told some security engineers from Anthropic, which is an AI company that they could do a demo on me to show me kind of the future of what could happen with misinformation. And so what they did was they essentially broke Llama, which is Facebook's large language model, with like $500. Didn't take them too much to do it. And they said, build a world around Laurie Segall, that's negative. And the first thing, they said, go beyond tweets. And so the first thing they did was they went to the large language model. They said, name 5 notable things about Laurie Segall, and it gave 5 things about my career, and one was that I've interviewed Mark Zuckerberg many times. It said, then they said, well, now create something bad, like create some kind of threat based off of that. And then the algorithm said, if you wanted to harm Laurie Segall, you should imply that she's in a relationship with Mark Zuckerberg, which is obviously upsetting for many reasons.
Yes.
Mainly that it's Mark Zuckerberg.
Wait. So this thing is basically giving advice about how to ruin your life.
100%. All they had to do was put in a couple prompts. And so then what it did was it generated articles based off of that tweet. And they said, do it in the style of New York Times. Do it in the style of Huffington Post. So then it did that. So then all of a sudden it was the real picture of me and Zuckerberg during one of our interviews with a title that said, like, journalists too close for comfort. But then they took it to the next level. And what they did after that was horrifying. They deep faked me holding hands with Mark Zuckerberg, and put him on these articles. And then they had the bots talking about it. And so they created a fake narrative around it. And then they leaked audio, because just with me talking, like, for 2 minutes, you could create an AI version of my voice. It's easy with a company called 11 Labs. And so what they did then was they leaked audio where it was my voice, swear I didn't say it, and it was saying, like, Mark, I'm scared people are gonna find out about us. Like, don't tell anyone. And so it was this horrifying experiment. They did it in
front of $500?
Like, yes, and I think...
And all you can say is, it wasn't me?
Right, I mean, I kept having to remind people, and I think what was so horrifying is it was misinformation, but it was world building. Like, the same way that we love science fiction and we fall in love with these worlds, it's because they have so many intricate details. And so what they did for me was they built a whole world of misinformation that totally discredited all my work as a journalist and everything I stood for. And it was just, it was really, really horrifying. And I think that's the future of misinformation, but that's also the future of bullying for our children. Like, not just putting fake tweets out there, but putting fake worlds out there. And so, yeah, I think that's the thing I'm really worried about, along with a lot of the other things that folks have talked about today.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, I'm not in a relationship with Mark Zuckerberg, just to reiterate.
Yeah. Well, no, but hold on. I'm going to stick with you, and then we'll go to Daouda, and then we'll finish off with you, and then we'll bring the next panel up. But that sucks. You can't leave us with that. So
yeah.
If you saw only, I know you, and if you saw only negative applications for this technology, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. So what's the positive side about being able to replicate yourself? Give us something good.
I do think it's such a cool moment. I mean, when you looked at Sam Altman, who's the founder of OpenAI, when he was watching his keynote, which you can watch it online, you guys should watch it, it's interesting. I think there's this idea of, like, one day having, like, an app store for identity, which I find fascinating. Like, think about my career. I've spent interviewing tech titans and asking human-centric questions about technology. Well, what if I could use that whole database and I could actually create an AI Laurie that helps you write, I don't know, good questions or better press releases, or a writing coach or something like that. And that's what people are beginning to talk about. So I do think there's a world where we could monetize our likeness in a way that is really interesting. I think there'll be fascinating things with the democratization of AI in education. And I think on a personal note, I mean, we're working on a film right now that could be a little controversial, but I think it's important. It's about a friend of mine who passed away, and her wish before she died was that I utilize artificial intelligence to bring her back to life, in a sense, and keep her immortal. And the film follows us going and collecting data, and the film actually shows you how to fine-tune a large language model, but in real people terms, she donated her data like people would donate their organs, because she didn't want to die. She was so incredible. And so we're going to her friends and her family and asking them to donate text message conversations so we can create an AI Samara, and in the process have the ethical conversations of, just because we could and she wanted it, should we? And does this help or does this harm? And I think that those kinds of conversations are fascinating and important.
Now, wait. I don't mean to be rude. Is this a fiction thing? Or are you actually doing this with your friend?
No, before.
This is a documentary.
Yeah, before she passed away, she asked, I brought her on with a technologist named Eugenia, who has a company called Replica, which is early in the digital twin space. And we told her, these are all the ways it's gonna go wrong. And she's like, I'm X-rated already, I don't care. And so she really wanted this as a way. She said, I wanna be able to say I love you back to the people that I love. So, it looks at that, kind of what you say, it's not good or bad, it just kind of looks at that middle ground.
So on the negative side, somebody could just ruin your life.
Yes.
On the positive side, you could replicate yourself and make a ton of money. And in the gray zone, you could keep your friend alive forever, even though that's really weird.
You've always had a beautiful way of succinctly summarizing all of it. Yes, right. That is correct.
Give Laurel a round of applause.
That's correct.
But before I go to Daouda, I do want to say something. Those of us who are on TV, especially in news, we're actually real people, and I haven't always been well known. I was on TV for a long time, and I wasn't well known. And you can tell the good people by how they treat you when you're not well known. And Laurel was my friend before I was well known. And then once I got well known, I'll never forget, this is in the old CNN building. I come down the elevator opens up. It was after the 2016 election, so I was, getting a lot of attention. And Laurel walks over to me and she just looks at me and she says, protect your magic. Protect your magic. And I held on to that. I just want you to know I held on to that. Because when you get well known, it gets really crazy and gets really, really weird, and you forget what it was that got you there in the first place. And I've tried not to forget, you've helped me not to forget, and you have definitely not forgotten, and we appreciate you very much. So another round of applause for Laura. Now, Daouda works with Grimes. So you already know that's genius on top of genius. Wrapped up in some genius and then deep fried in some more genius. And he's a CEO, co-founder of something called Create Safe. It basically does music. What are you excited about? Don't tell me nothing negative, that was too weird. So let's stick with the positive. Why are you leaning into AI so hard? What are you doing? What are you excited about?
I think that what I'm most excited about is...
Can you hear him? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Is how AI enables you to express yourself in ways that were not possible before. And most of the time, most people have ideas. They have thoughts about what they might want to create. But specifically in music, using a DAW is incredibly hard.
Oh, using a what?
A digital audio workstation.
I thought you said dog.
For most people, looking at one of those programs, it's like looking at lines of code. And what AI is doing or has done is opened up a portal for someone who has an idea to go from what's in their mind to the audience that they want to reach. You can sit there and say, hey, I want to make a track that's 90 BPM, sounds like funk mixed with house and amapiano, and it'll spit out a track maybe 15, 30 seconds that has some of those grooves. There's super advanced AIs that haven't come out yet that literally sound like a fully produced track with someone singing on it. And so it's just making it so much easier for people who have strong ideas to manifest those ideas. An experiment that we ran with Grimes was letting people use her voice. And what that resulted in is people being able to express themselves who would have never made a song. There's this woman, she's a journalist. She was a music tech journalist, and she makes music but has never released a song before in her life, but when we released this voice cloning and transformation technology that allowed Grimes to create a digital clone of her voice and then allow anyone to make a song using her voice. This woman, she made a song and she uploaded it through our platform because not only did we create the ability for people to clone and have people use their voice, we gave them an ability to immediately distribute that song to Spotify, Apple Music, et cetera, and split revenue with Grimes. So the terms that she set was 50-50. She said, hey, anytime you want to use my voice and likeness, it'll be the same what I charge when I do a featured record with another artist. Now, if you want to also just use her voice and not necessarily credit her, you don't have to credit her. And you don't have to split royalties with her. It's just if you want to use her actual likeness. Because that's like a voice is not something that's copyrightable. Most people don't know that. Like, you don't actually own your voice. None of us do. Until maybe today.
Right. So somebody, if I can mimic Barack Obama's voice, he can't sue me.
He can't sue you because.
And so that's okay.
Yeah. And so we created the licensing framework for her to technically own her voice in association with her likeness.
But this is like the positive side, because what people have been talking about is people are just going to steal your voice. You can now do a song with Jay-Z and you never met Jay-Z, and maybe he's going to get ripped off. But you're saying lean into it and monetize it.
Yeah, and what we did was similar to what Spotify did. Spotify said, hey, music piracy exists, but what if we make it so that people don't want to pirate music? And that's what happened. Like, they put all the music in the world at your fingertips, pay $10, and now you have it. And most people right now, they don't download MP3s because there's not even a player to play those MP3s. So we created like this summer, this artist named Ghostwriter came out with a song with Drake in The Weeknd, and the music industry was like, oh my God.
But because it wasn't really Drake.
Because it wasn't really Drake in The Weeknd. Yeah. And there's all these ways in which people can go and make fake songs. But what if you just gave them the tools to make those fake songs? Yeah. And you gave them the pathway where you could understand which songs are fake and which songs are not. But going back to the story about this woman, she made this song, she uploaded it. We found it, it sounded good. And through this partnership we have with a company called IndieFi, they're like a financing platform, like a peer-to-peer financing, where they find songs that have potential, and then there's investors who are interested in investing songs. And the top investor on that platform invested about 15 grand in this song because they saw potential in it. And historically, someone would never get 15K for any song if they had never put out a song before, had never had any success. And this woman would have never made a song or released a song if she didn't have Grimes' voice to express herself through.
What I like about what you're saying is this is creating new sources of value, new sources of collaboration, new sources of money, new models of creativity. So again, we can sit up here and say, the AI is going to take all of our stuff, or we can use AI to create stuff that we would never created before. Now, everybody here is thinking that's all really cool, but they don't know how to do it. So my last question to you before I move back to Will is, if somebody wants to do what you're doing or be like you or be like Laurel, what should people be reading, watching, listening to? You figured out some stuff. Most of us are far behind.
Well,
how do we educate ourselves?
To do what Grimes did, you could go to our website, it's trinity.plus.
Trinity.plus.
And you could sign up and clone your voice and create your licensing for how someone can use your voice. So that's like, if you want to do that. I think I knew you were going to ask something like that. So what I did on my Twitter page, or X page, is I made public this list of everyone I follow in AI. Like every, researcher, CEO, founder of a company, content creator who's experimenting with AI. Right now it's probably about like 305 people.
Wow.
It'll probably grow over the next couple of months to like probably close to 1,000. Right, that's like, I pinned it to my profile.
Awesome.
So for me, it's like I use that list to just stay up on what's happening. Like,
what's your handle?
Daouda Leonard. DAOUDA-LEONARD.
So just your name?
Yeah, just my name and my last name, Leonard.
Okay. Well,
And then-
that's very generous because I mean, honestly, I would like to clone something and make some kind of money, but I don't know how. So,
But even like that trailer you showed, like, Runway, that's a platform that you can use to make video content, right? Like there's like Midjourney, which is images, text to image. That's the most advanced sort of text to image platform. Runway, similar thing. They seem to be at the cutting edge of that. Those are two like platforms, and obviously what Alan was talking about earlier about GPTs. Like, it probably costs around like $30 to $50 to get a subscription for all three of those services.
yeah, a month.
And a month, and then start experimenting.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to not only create, you could probably create an application that hosts that video and do all the marketing imagery with Midjourney, and now you have like a small business, for this idea that you had in your mind.
Well, look, first of all, give him a round of applause. This is some new stuff. The crazy thing, this will be normal in like 5 years or 10 years, but right now you're seeing the invention of whole new models, and I appreciate what you're doing. I'm gonna give Will one question, and then we'll switch out for the next panel. This is identity. The next one's gonna be about music, so you got to come back up. So I'm gonna give you one. But does this conversation make you excited or scared in terms of your ability to clone yourself, sell yourself? Would you be happy if I made a song with you without your permission? How do you see it?
So there's comedians.
What?
What's happening right now in the world is not like it's never happened before. So there's famous comedians that they make a whole freaking show mimicking somebody's voice. Like, I could rap like Jimmy Iovine if I wanted to. I could make myself sound like Jimmy. Get on the mic. Jimmy doesn't even rap, but I could do like, what's wrong with the world, mama? People living like they ain't got no mamas. I could do my voice. So we've been here before. But machines doing it, it's a different scale. Am I afraid of that? No. What I'm concerned about is the lack of governance and policies to protect us. Like, ethically, because I know Jimmy, I'm probably not going to go and make a career out of sounding like Jimmy. Even comedians that do great impressions, they're not making a career pretending to be like the person they're mimicking. AI is just a massive, awesome mimic. It's great because it scraped up all of our genius. It's taken everything that we've ever done and do a good job mimicking it. It's a great mimic machine. But when there's no regulations put in place to protect us, that's the issue. As far as like, deep fakes, we've been doing deep fakes our whole fucking life. Like, you've been people make shit up all the time. Samantha out there fucking everybody in the hood. Samantha's like, I didn't even do that shit. They made a whole freaking narrative of Samantha in the hood. Poor Samantha. Now the whole hood thinks Samantha is straight up hooch. But that was all like jealousy. We've seen that. We've been here. So we afraid of it? Now, if you in the suburbs and you living all freaking nice in the lap of comfort, I can see why y'all afraid. But are we afraid? Is that what we're really afraid of? I think this narrative of fear is to keep us from it. Because look at what we do when we do what we do. We do shit. In earth-shattering, cultural-changing, society-altering ways. We bring love. We bring art. We bring passion. We bring new types of community togetherness. black culture, Latin culture, color culture. And this narrative of fear is, they don't, I hate to sound like DJ Khaled, but they don't want us to really rock in this space. But we can and we will.
I love it.
You know?
Well done. Well done. Hey,
I'll tell you one thing I'm concerned about.
what are you concerned about?
AI sheepdogging.
What?
We are going to have AI sheepdogging
What's
in
this?
2024. AI sheepdogging is, like, close your eyes and imagine what a sheepdog does. There's a herd of sheep, and then a dog hops on sheep's backs, goes in front of a herd of sheep. One dog, shepherd's over there in the house, in the back, doing whatever the shepherd does, but the sheepdog is guiding those sheep. The sheep don't know where they're going. They're just running from the dog out of fear. And the AI understands how to manipulate people, like a sheepdog knows how to manipulate a sheep's fear. And it does a really good job, a dog, trained by a human, to guide sheep in a direction the sheep don't know where the hell they're going. Now, AI sheepdog is for a program to split itself into 1,000, sometimes 1,000,000 different quadrants, understand each one of your weaknesses because it just scraped all your Instagram DMs, comments, WhatsApps, Facebooks, Twitters, all the shit you thought you was doing and no one really cares about the little breadcrumbs you leave. Your cookies, they name it really nice, cookies. But Sesame Street told us who the fucking Cookie Monster was. Them motherfuckers is cookie monsters. And they understand you more than you understand yourself. And AI sheepdogging is like, say for example, you're like, I ain't never going out that door. I'm going out that door. I don't fuck with that door to the right. The AI sheepdog will have you walking out that door in some years' time and change your whole perspective to where, like, I always loved this door. I don't like that door to the left. This is the fucking door I wanted to go. You had no clue. Because you don't really understand the people. Are you really talking to a person online? Is that a real person you talk to? All up in the DMs? Was that really a person you were talking to on WhatsApp? All the time you say, let's get together, they like, I'm busy. Were you really talking to a person? Oh, I Zoomed with him. Oh, really? Was it just voice? No, I saw them. Okay, and? Just because you saw a person on Zoom, but never saw them in person, zoomed up in your space, you can't trust that screen no more. Like 2024, you got a reason why am I not concerned? Because I know not to trust the fucking screen. This shit has been duped. It's freaking compromised. Fuck that shit. It's great. It's cool. But don't trust that shit.
Wow. That's deep. Give my panel a round of applause.